Hello and welcome to IPBL Weekly World Cup Edition. I am Nihal, aka Big Time Brownie, joined by the first ever winner of the IPBL, the coach currently of the Washington Pokemon team, formerly known as the Hollywood Haluchas, formerly known as the Ohio State Fighting Sea Dots, and representing the Kalos region, Jared, aka Hippie Hoedown, aka Stoneman. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Feeling that championship mentality. And yeah,
Absolutely.
it's good that I changed my name from the OSU Fighting Sea Dots now that they've copyrighted the. I
The
think I think I'm
you
happy
did
I got out
have
of that
the
space. Yeah, I guess I can't
you
be
did
the
have the.
Washington Commanders, so
That's true.
iffy.
That okay. We're not going to talk about that, but absolutely ridiculous that they did that.
Yeah.
And I say that as an Ohio State grad. um, but we're going to be talking about Week 1 of the IPBL World Cup and previewing Week 2 briefly. So why don't we start over in Group 1? Group 1 consists of Unova Kalos, Alola, and Hoenn. The first match of the week was Jared Kalos versus Samir and Alola. Jared, you picked up the 3-0 win. Greninja getting the last handful of kills. Overall, a pretty commanding win. Seemed like you were in control the whole time. What were your thoughts going into the game, and did it play out how you thought it might?
Yeah, it was a little different than what I expected. For some reason, I saw Tapabulu on his team, and I went, I have a great matchup against Tapabulu, so I don't have to worry about that. But I know he'll bring it, so gotta bring a few coverage moves, make sure that I've got that covered, and go ahead. I did not. The thought of webs did not cross my mind, which is why Talonflame, my only defogger, did not come, and so the webs were horrifying, and I did not know how to deal with them. But luckily, I had scarfed Greninja, so he was still able to outspeed what he needed to outspeed when it came down to it.
Yeah, Scarf Greninja ended up being huge there. Also, the fact that you got early damage on the Zeraora, I think on like turn 2,
Yeah.
was huge because that was really his only way to deal with Greninja after webs, and also really his main way to deal with Sylveon, which was able to tank like the photon geysers and
Yeah.
pretty much everything else that Samir wanted to go for. I mean, I feel like your team, Kalos is really difficult, right? Like there aren't many Pokemon. I think you put together a really good team, especially with what you had. Like there's a lot of great synergy there, and like Greninja and Aegislash are huge threats.
Yeah.
I mean, first impressions of Samir's team, like when he brought those 6 Pokemon, there was no Bulu, obviously. You saw Vikavolt. At that point, did you think like, oh, Greninja wins, or what was your game plan at that point? Do you think?
Yeah. When Bulu wasn't there, I mean, yeah, it was interesting. I definitely expected maybe like a Scarfini or some kind of boosting set, not necessarily just the kind of offensive stealth rock setter from Necrozma. So I was kind of anticipating that there would be offensive threats that weren't Zeraora that I would have to watch out for, and it seemed like they were all pretty balanced sets. Silvally, I expected Silvally Steel based on what he has on his
Right.
team. I think that's his only Steel option potentially. And I figured he'd have to bring that. Yeah, I just think I expected like setup or priority, but I don't think he maybe didn't think that was necessary once he guaranteed the webs. Um, yeah, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, like coming into this, I thought it was a really tough matchup for you. So kudos on winning it. Obviously, this is Samir's debut in competitive
Right?
Pokemon, so he will just improve as we go forward. But it's always tough for me. I think it's always tough playing players you know nothing about.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what they're gonna do, especially with you know players who are new. Sometimes they might not go for the play you think is obvious, and that can throw you off. And sometimes that can make me tilt. So I'm glad that did happen to you, and you were able to pick up the 3-0 victory there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll freely admit I didn't expect the play rough coverage on Zero Aura. So when that kind of smacked Gudra out of the sky, and I mean, Gudra, he just feels, you like look at him and you feel like he's very tanky. And specially, yes, but physically, it's just an absolute pushover. Like you saw Play Rough hit Gudra for like 70% or something, whereas, you know, when it hit Chestnut, also for special effective or super effective damage, it did like 25% or something because it's so defensive.
Yeah. That was the other thing I was going to say. Like, defensive Chestnut was a great bring. Mm-hmm. I mean, that thing did a lot of work. It stopped Zero Aura in his tracks. Like, the play rough doing that little is incredible. Like, that's insane. And, I mean, since you didn't have a ground type on your team, I think, like, going into it, Samir could have thought, you know, Zero Aura kind of could just win here. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I did a mock with Samir, and I brought, from your perspective, I brought Choice Banded Tyrantrum, and it got like 5 kills.
Okay. Oh, that's hilarious.
Don't sleep on that. Do some calcs. It is insane. That Pokemon is absolutely insane.
Oh yeah, no, I'm so excited for that Pokemon. Griffin actually recommended it, and when I was looking at it, what was it that held me back? I
mean, it's slow.
Yeah, it's slow, and I think it just didn't have the. I was worried about some type overlap with some stuff that I felt like I needed to bring. Like, I felt like I needed Gudra to be able to deal with some of the, like, big special hits that would be coming my way. And I know Sylveon filled some of that role, but I didn't think Tyrantrum's, like, physically defensive.
Right.
I didn't think it would be able to stand up to any of that stuff. And also it has, like, added non-resistances from its rock typing, basically. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I more wanted
the typing is kind of garbage. I feel that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, no, I am super excited about that Pokemon. I mean, it's so goofy, and it's
the thing about it is once it's in, it just gets a kill.
Right.
If you can get it in, but you're right. Like it's easy to revenge too. Like if you get a kill, but then something else that kills it comes in.
Right. Exactly.
So I think that's fair. Yeah. I think that's fair. From Samir's perspective, yeah, I mean, I think the team he brought. I think it probably, on balance, could have won.
Yes.
If it was played a little bit differently. So you guys, I think, are the only two that actually shared your teams
that's funny.
In the post-match discussion. Matt did as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, so, I mean, everyone can see that he was set up Feeny, the Iron Defense, Calm Mind, Surf, Draining Kiss. Mm-hmm. Like, that set is really, really good. If he could have gotten up like one Iron Defense, it's almost impossible to break.
Yeah.
And then Zero Aura, you know, I think it probably could have done more if it didn't take a Specs Hyper Voice on the second turn. But after that, it was, you know, you kind of just had to play your game. I think you made after the Zero Aura, you made one really good read, which was just predicting Tapu Fini and going for Sludge Wave on Gudra, which basically neutralized it completely, and Fini couldn't really set up after that. So, I mean, those two plays, I think, are really what won you the game there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I think a healthy Zero Aura could have cleaned me up at the end, especially because the webs. I mean, my only real counter for that, because I didn't bring priority on Aegislash, was Scarfree Ninja, and with webs, that is not a counter. So,
right.
Yeah. Although maybe I don't know. Yeah. It would have been interesting to see, because I had that Leech Seed set on Chestnut. It might have been able to stall it out, or at least force enough switches that it wouldn't have been as scary as maybe that sounds.
You were Helmet too, right?
Yeah, I was Helmet too. Yep.
Yeah. So between like Leech Seed, Helmet, and, you know, if you went for Synthesis or Drain Punch or whatever, you probably could have stalled it out. But he did have bulk up, so I mean, if he went for one.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he had bulk up in Zero Aura.
Oh wow,
yeah. So I mean, that was an expert belt play rough too. That Chestnut tanked.
Okay.
From Zero Aura.
Yeah.
Chestnut Very underrated mon. Not my favorite design, but underrated. I was
Yeah.
really excited. I was really excited about Chespin and Fennekin, and their designs ended up being not great.
Yeah, no, it's a little sad. Yeah, I know in the draft you mentioned you'd never maybe considered its face. It's like its actual face.
That was Sahil.
A Sahil.
Yeah, he said that.
It's not what I expected, and I don't like it. So I'm never gonna look at it again.
Well, luckily for you, you just have to see its back while you're battling.
Exactly.
All right, moving on to the second game of Group 1. Univa and Matt took on Hoenn and Richie. Matt was able to take a commanding 4-0 victory against Richie. Hydreigon ended up with 2 kills, and then he got 1 kill from a bunch of other Pokemon. Let me pull up the stats. Yeah, he got 1 kill from Mienshao, Cofagrigus, Alomomola, and Thundurus. So, really good showing from the Univa national team. Hoenn is another tough one. There's so much type overlap when you're trying to build a team.
Yeah.
That it's really hard to... Like, for example, Richie doesn't have a ground type, which is partially my fault because I told him, you already have Salamence, like, you don't need Flygon. But maybe in retrospect, he should have. I have both. But then everything's weak to ice, so I don't know. It's tough. Like, every tier 1 in Hoenn was a psychic type. And there's so many psychic types, so... Richie's definitely going to have to be able to deal with that, and in these next 2 games, try to play around that a little bit more. I mean, like, you have a Heliolisk and Samir has a Zeraora, so it's not like it gets easier in terms of dealing with electric types. But he did end up bringing Boomburst Swallow, which was my suggestion as well. Another Pokemon along with what's it called? Tyrantrum, I think is super underrated. And I was sending him some calcs beforehand, like Modest Specs Boomburst did.
Hyping it up.
It did 78 or 70 to 92% to a full HP Cofagrigus. It O-code Hydreigon. It did 54 to 64 to a fully specially defensive Reuniclus. Like, it's insane. And 60 to 71% to a fully specially defensive Alomomola. Like, that is ridiculous. So
something else.
And it gets scrappy too, right? So like I said, it hits Cofagrigus. So I think getting rocks up for Matt was huge because Swellow wasn't able to come in freely. It was taking that 25% every single time. And I think that sort of prevented Richie from really doing the thing with Swellow. He did. It was 4-0, but and I said it was commanding. It was a pretty close match, though. I'll say, even though it did feel like Matt was in control, it took probably 30 to 35 turns in for Pokemon to start falling. But Matt plays like he always does, patient, with a pretty balanced sort of team, and he seems to make the right plays at the right time. So good for Matt. What were your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, it was pretty clean. I think Matt has a scary roster. And also, some of the type coverage that Richie has, like, defensively is kind of limited. So, I was surprised. I think I'm always surprised because I'm the kind of person to just go, oh, that's just a generically good Pokemon. I'm always going to bring it, or almost always. And so I guess I was surprised not to see Deoxys D here, even though I know it has a kind of unfavorable matchup against, half this team. I'd be interested to see if maybe it could have, like, I don't know. I guess I'm not too familiar with that Pokemon. Is that what is generally the game plan for that? And could it have helped at all in this matchup, or would it have just gotten run over by Bisharp, Hydreigon, and Cofagrigus?
Yeah, so I mean, I think part of the problem is if it's like sub Hydreigon or just even nasty plot Hydreigon, it has a hard time dealing with it. But I mean, you can run, like, Deoxys defense usually runs like Recover, Taunt, Spikes, and Seismic Toss or Nightshade or whatever. It can also run Toxic and Thunder Wave. It's really difficult to kill, and it gets all the moves that Deoxys does too. So it gets pretty good offensive moves. It just doesn't have good offensive stats. I mean, like you said, it was not a good matchup. Hydreigon's there, Bishop's there, Cofagrigus is there. If he brought Colbur Berry, he could have done something. I'm sure it gets some sort of fairy type coverage, and I think
Yeah.
it does get Drain Punch. I want to say so. It's a possibility. I think now looking back on it, bringing Breloom was a bigger mistake. Not bringing Breloom was a bigger mistake,
Yeah.
because that would have been his only that would have been an electric resist, and he could have brought like Mach Punch for Hydreigon and Bisharp, and even Mian
Yeah.
Shao, and then Cofagrigus, you could Spore or whatever, So I think that might have been a better choice looking back on it.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's just a tough matchup. Man, it has a super scary team. Unova probably had the best selection of Pokemon. Unova and Alola. So whatever Matt was going to build was going to be difficult to deal with. And then, you know, the Pokemon that Matt didn't bring were like Ferrothorn and Reuniclus.
Right.
And those are mons you have to like prep for quite a bit as well. So
Right. You can't just forget about them and hope for the best.
exactly, like you need fire type coverage. That's probably why Blaziken ended up coming.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that type of redundancy is tough with Breloom. It's hard to bring both, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunate start to week one for Hoenn. But Richie maybe will bounce back next week. Is he playing? Is he playing you?
He
No, he's not.
plays.
He's playing Samir. He's playing Alola.
Okay.
So hopefully he can bounce back against Samir. Any other thoughts on that match, or you ready to move on?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm just not excited to see Matt's team next week.
We'll talk about that in a bit. So just to recap, in Group 1, Unova sits atop the standings with a +4 differential at 1-0. Kalos comes in second place with a +3 differential, and then Alola is in third, with being 0-1 with -3, and Hoenn rounds out the group in fourth place with a -4 differential. Moving on to Group 2 with Galar, Johto, Kanto, and Sinnoh. The first match we're going to talk about is Johto, which is coached by me, versus Sinnoh. And I mean, honestly, there's not a whole lot to say about this match. I basically
That was
just
a
set
rough
up with
one.
Lugia to +6 with sub Lugia and 1. So,
Yep.
I mean,
It's the Uber
like
power.
not yeah, it is the Uber power. Not a whole lot was revealed. I would say from my point of view, and I'm going to try not to reveal too much more, just in case I want to bring some of that
Wanna
stuff again.
theorize.
But I mean, inner focus Raikou ended up actually working, and being a thing that came
Yeah.
with the lead fake out Ambipom. But yeah, I mean, I was able to get in Lugia on turn 3 and then just set up and win. So I mean,
Right.
it's such a terrifying Pokemon. I mean, its stats are literally what is it? 106 HP, 130 defense, 154
Yeah.
speed F, 110 speed, and then 90 in both attacks. So
Yeah.
really hard to deal with. And if you're not prepared for setup Lugia, I think it's pretty much GG from there. But sorry, I don't want to talk. I'll let you jump in here.
About
But
your-
I do think there were plays he could have played around it better. Like, I mean, if he just went into Ambipom earlier and tail slapped, he could have broken my sub and also
Right.
done damage. But he just sort of let me just set up all the way. So, and I hit every Hurricane, which was nice. That has
Yeah,
never
that's
happened
gonna help
before.
out, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. No, it was definitely a rough one, and definitely. Yeah, you don't get to see those stats in our league traditionally. And obviously, Johto has basically one team that is buildable
Right.
from its set of Pokemon. So this is it. But it was. I don't think anyone else is going to bring less than like 3 counters or intended counters
Right.
for Lugia going
Right.
forward.
Well, I think it's fair. Like, you would think one of the counter is just like toxic.
Right.
But it's so fast. Like, it outspeeds Garchomp.
Right.
So I mean, I just ran max HP and max speed, and I was still able to tank everything. I mean, Cresselia wasn't able to break a sub,
Yep.
and,
Yep.
and I was still able to outspeed everything except for Ambipom. So it is a tough mon to deal with. Yeah, I am expecting, I'm expecting some more targeted counterplay. The thing is, though, like, if you prep that way for Lugia, like Rain could beat you very easily.
Yes.
So, you know, as bad as Johto is, like this team is hard to deal with and hard to prep for, I think.
Yeah.
So, Pranav also, the coach of Sinnoh, also making his debut in competitive Pokemon. So I think he'll improve as well. He has Garchomp and Heatran, and those two mons are really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite possible for him to bounce back. But we'll see. Any other thoughts on this match? I don't have much to say.
No, there isn't. Yeah, I don't think there is much to say. It's
Is there anything he could have brought, like you think that he should have that he didn't bring, that maybe could have dealt with it? I mean, maybe Skunk Tank.
His roster again. Yeah, it seems like. See, the rough part about Rotom Heat is
The Rain.
I mean, it is his electric type, but also Rain. So what? You bring a discharge volt switch, like a heavy electric Rotom Heat,
right?
To try and build some momentum, hit Lugia for super effective damage. Yeah, have neutral coverage on everything except Raikou, and if you had decided to bring Piloswine,
right.
I don't know, maybe that could have made a difference or given some freer switches, but
right.
Yeah, you could have even tricked for tricking Lugia with a Scarf, while not ideal to have Scarf Hurricanes coming at you, would have crippled the setup that you had. So
absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, and the thing is, like, everything that resists electric also resists fire in the rain. So it's not like you can do much besides that. I think maybe Skunk Tank could have come if he was like AV or something. He could have at least done super effective damage.
Yeah.
Something I was a little bit afraid of was Floatzel, because that gets Swift Swim, and that outspeeds Kingdra and everything on my team in the rain. He ended up not bringing that. So, I mean, maybe that could have dealt with it. But, I mean, Lugia had a pretty good matchup. I had Weather Ball.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, I probably should run, Surf, because if I'm setting up, the rain's going to go away eventually.
Right.
So I had to keep clicking Hurricane. But,
right.
I mean, it ended up working out, so I can't really complain. But, yeah, tough matchup, I think. The combination of Kingdra and Lugia just destroys his team.
Yeah. Limited options. Better luck
absolutely.
next week.
Absolutely. And the final game, by the way, it was a 6-0 victory. I didn't say that.
I don't think you need
moving on to another. Yeah, fair enough. Moving on to the next match, which was also a 6-0 victory. Galar and Griffin, making his debut in the IPBL, took on the commissioner himself, Sahil, and the Kanto region. And yeah, Griffin, great debut, picking up the 6-0 victory. Slowking Galar, man. Slowking Galar. Is it the best mon in the league right now?
You need options to deal with that thing. And it was I mean, we were talking about it a bit after the match, but I don't really know how much Sahil could have done. Obviously, you have limited. I mean, no Dark and Steel in Kanto, so there's problem number one. And so especially especially defensive. A Mew set that might have been tankier instead of the boosting, and trying to do something to that Slowking, maybe paralyzing it, anything. Maybe that could have slowed it down and let it be less of a reliable pivot, but gosh, with Regenerator and everything that it had, it was just hitting for free over and over and over, and it was terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, it gets a ton of coverage. Like you said, no steel. Steel and dark types are really the only way to deal with it. So yeah, at that point, like you said, bulky Mew I think was really the only option. And looking back on it, yeah, I there really was no way to deal with it. Maybe if he brought AV Blastoise and with Earthquake, but I mean, he has Rillaboom. Griffin ended up not bringing Rillaboom, but that's the thing, right? Anything, you can't really bring Earthquake on you could. I mean, he didn't bring Earthquake on Dragonite because of grassy terrain. So you
Yeah,
know,
and Griffin actually specifically mentioned to me that he was hoping that this is what would happen, is that people would be afraid to bring earthquake coverage for Slowking because of the threat of grassy terrain, and that was also why he felt comfortable bringing in Colossal
right,
for rocks,
right.
because he just figured maybe it won't be free, but it will get rocks up, and yeah, so we didn't even see Dragapult or Shifu hit the field for this.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's scary.
Dragapult and Urshifu did not hit the field. Rillaboom didn't come. Really, probably his top 3 Pokemon. Just, didn't come, and he ends up getting a 6-0 victory.
Yep.
But, I mean, I think the matchups do get a little bit harder for him with Johto and
Yes.
Sinnoh. I guess I have Umbreon. But it's still, like, I mean, it's still, his
foul
team
play,
is
that'll
just
do
ridiculous.
It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Foul play will beat Dragapult.
There you go.
But yeah, not Slowking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole, and again, it's another 6-0. There's not a whole lot to say about it. I guess once Nidoking went down, it was impossible at that point for Sahel to win. Because then Slowking really just could come in and do
Just
its
took
thing.
over. Yeah.
So, just to recap, Galar and Johto are top group 2 with a +6 differential, both 1-0, and then Kanto and Sinnoh sit at the bottom with -6 differentials. So, just looking back on week 1, what would we say is the most surprising result? I mean, honestly, I feel like the results are pretty. Well, I guess it probably just has to be Sahel versus Griffin, just because it was a 6-0.
I think so. I think Griff. Well, I just, I know him, but I didn't know how good of a battler he was, and I figured
The dude is in Malawi. The dude is in Malawi, just 6-0ing people right now.
Yeah, exactly, on like a laptop in a in a hostel somewhere. Yeah, I don't even know if he's able to calc over there. Who knows?
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah. So good to see him perform, and it's clear that he thinks a lot about that stuff. I mean, the way that I found out that he was interested in becoming a part of a league, the league, was he brought up Pokeaim unprompted, and I think that population of people that you would get to talk about Pokeaim without necessarily saying that you're also into competitive Pokemon first.
Yeah.
Generally going to be solid battlers, but really performed.
For sure. I mean, watching Pokeaim probably made me a much better battler. And also super nice guy. Go check out youtube.com/BigTimeBrownie. I read an interview with him. Gotta get the plug in when you can,
Always.
Yeah, I mean, I played Griffin this week. We'll get into the previews in a second here. But that, based on the matchup, I was kind of expecting that he could win. He texted, or he messaged me a few times before the match, and he said, is it crazy not to bring Rillaboom and bring these 2 tier 5s? And I mean, I had already seen Sahel's team, so I couldn't really say anything,
right.
But I told him my philosophy is just bring the matchup based Pokemon.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the other one, just bring the good Pokemon, is also a good philosophy. But it happened to work for him. I mean, just the fact that Rillaboom exists was a deterrent enough to allow Slowking to win. Yeah. Let's take a look at the Golden Pokeball. So the kill leaders. In first place is Lugia with 6 kills and 0 deaths. In second place, Slowking Galar with 5 kills and 0 deaths. In third place, Greninja with 4 kills and 0 deaths. And in fourth place, the only other Pokemon with more than 1 kill this week, Hydreigon with 2 kills and 0 deaths. So an interesting group of Pokemon at the top, don't you think?
Yeah. My favorite thing when I was just doing some Lugia-based research was that the first line in its description on Smogon is, this Pokemon's really passive. You gotta watch out for that, meanwhile, it sweeps an entire team in our league by itself. Yeah, and Slowking you don't associate Slowkings with sweeps either. So
That's true.
yeah, Greninja and Hydreigon
Well, the thing about
are
Slowking,
boring
it wasn't
by
really a
comparison.
sweep, right? Like, Slowking just came in and got kills, then left.
That's
and then
true.
came back in and got kills.
That's true. Well, it switching out wasn't really, it wasn't that it needed to switch. It was that he just wanted to, like, do a shitty recover that took two
Right.
turns. And so there's, switch out, 30% health, hit again, switch out, 30% health, hit again. Like,
Yeah.
it was every time I saw Slowking's health go down by less than 30%, I got sad. And it was
I mean, you're not doing any damage to it, basically.
right.
And the fact that, like, Future Sight and then Future Sight plus Regenerator, which all the all the bros and kings get.
All the bros.
But, like, still, it's I mean, that is tough to deal with, unless, like, you have multiple counters.
Yeah, that's right.
And then your very own Greninja in third place.
My very
I
own
think.
Greninja.
Yeah, I mean, Protean Greninja has been strong for a long time.
Yeah.
It hasn't been in the league since. It wasn't even available in the league since Gen 7, so it's been a few
Right.
years since we've seen the Pokemon. Which, by the way, is weird. I felt like they were trying to make Greninja the new mascot, kind of, and then they cut it. But
Yeah. No, it's pretty strange. It's still in Smash Bros, so
it is still in Smash
there's still a
Bros. Yeah,
chance.
but just a very strong Pokemon.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the fact that you brought the scarf too, it can run so many different things. I'm
Right.
excited to see how you bring it in the future. And then Hydreigon in fourth place. Hydreigon's really good, but Matt had, like I said, like 5 Pokemon with a kill. So
Right.
just an overall strong performance from him. All right, looking on to next week. The first match that's listed here is Alola versus Hoenn. And looking at the rosters here, what do you think? What stands out to you? I mean, I already said that Richie doesn't have a ground type, so Zeraora kind of can just hit Plasma Fists. But what else stands out to you?
This is interesting. Yeah, I wonder if... No, Necrozma will probably still come. Why wouldn't it? It's Necrozma. We know what that thing does. Yeah. This is a little more interesting. There isn't as clear of a... Other than Zeraora just clicking Plasma Fists. I don't know that there's as clear of a setup for Richie to bring. Maybe he can surprise.
Yeah. I think, again, Breloom has a decent matchup, but, I mean, the problem with that thing is always its speed. So, like,
Right.
Feeney's going to be able to outspeed it, and Cineroar comes in and can intimidate it. I'm going to say it Boomburst Swallow again.
I was thinking about it.
Like, it kind of... I mean, Sylvali Steel is... That's his only answer to Boomburst Swallow. So if he doesn't bring I mean, I guess Minior, but, I mean, that's not really an answer to anything once his shields go down. So, yeah, I mean... Boomburst Swallow. Win
Boomburst
con.
Swallow. It's that easy. I mean... Oh, I was going to say once Tapu Bulu goes down. I mean, Milotic has nice matchups against things that aren't Zeraora and Bulu.
Well, and Milotic can stop sweeps just because it has Haze, which is nice.
Right.
So, like, setup Feeney is not going to be as good. Same with Necrozma. Like, Milotic can definitely take a hit from Necrozma and hit Haze if that's what Smear decides to bring.
Yeah.
Web is, again, I mean... I don't think webs are that good against Richie because he has Salamence and he has Swallow, which are both in the air, and Sharpedo gets speed boost. I mean, it does help with Jirachi, but so I don't think that would come. But it is an electric type, so I mean, you just bring Volt Switch and Zeraora, just continuously hit those.
Oh no!
But
just don't put that into the world.
What are your predictions here? Who do you think is going to win this one?
This is interesting. I think Samir has a really good matchup. I think Richie's gonna have a tough time. You know, I want it to be a close one, but yeah, I am worried about the Zeraora matchup. So I am going to predict Samir until further notice.
You got a scoreline?
Scoreline. Let's say. I think there's still room for shenanigans. I think it'll be like 2-0.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go with Richie. I'm gonna go with experience here.
Okay. Okay.
And
reliability.
Yeah, reliability. I think, like I said, Samir's going to continuously improve. But stuff like against you with Zero Aura, like if he had just calced that first turn, he never would have switched into Zero Aura. He would have known right away it was Choice Specs, Heliolisk, right? So like there's no reason to switch there.
Yeah.
Into anything but Sylvali. So I mean, I think like if mistakes like that happen, and like I don't know, Salamence gets 1 DD off, like he can win.
And admittedly, Deoxys and Jirachi are just gonna both have a much better time.
Right.
This week.
Right. I mean, Spikes could be huge for him if he goes with that. I mean, he has Sylvali and Fini, which are two pretty good defoggers. But I mean, if you're Fini and you defog your own Misty Train away as well, you're getting Toxics on the next turn. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, Jirachi and Deoxys defense are scary mons. You're right though. I mean, I think Samir does have the better matchup, but like I said, I'm gonna go 1-0. Richie is gonna pull it out.
Okay.
Next up is your match, my friend. Kalos versus Unova. You're taking on Matt. Wow. I'm looking at the teams. I feel kind of bad for you.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for me. It's yeah, I'm not excited about this matchup. Don't let Matt listen to this. I am terrified of Ferrothorn because my team just does not have.
Why does he have every answer to Aegis/possible?
I don't know what to tell you. Maybe he'll let me Swords Dance, or maybe he'll let me do my weakness policy right this time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a possibility. I do think though, like Greninja has a solid matchup, like it always does, kind of.
Yeah.
It's fast and it gets Protean.
Right.
And I mean, there's definitely pathways for you to win, I would say. But he just has so much offensive pressure, especially with like between Thundurus, Darmanitan, and Hydreigon. He can just continuously U-turn and chip your team down. So that's gonna be tough to deal with, especially and Mienshao too, actually. So that's gonna be tough to deal with. But I do think, yeah, I mean Hydreigon and Darmanitan just have pretty good matchups.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want you to give away anything, so
no spoilers.
We'll leave it at that. I think I'm gonna go. I'm sorry. I think I gotta go with Matt in this one.
Fair.
I'm gonna say 2-0. I'm sorry.
No comment. I plead the fifth.
All right. Moving on to Group 2. Sahil and Kanto is taking on Sinnoh and Pranav. Yeah, I mean, it's both guys desperately need a win this week. Being at the bottom of the group, whoever loses is eliminated from the next round, and that's actually, well, I mean, that's not technically true, but just with the differential, it's going to be almost impossible.
Right.
So, a big match for both of them. I think like Sahil actually has a pretty good matchup. I mean, yeah, I think it's a good matchup. Like I think Mew, Dragonite, and like Nidoking can kind of do their thing against Pranav's team. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree. Yeah, and then the threat of Ditto makes it hard for certain things to go for a sweep. I know Garchomp might have the coverage to do some serious damage, but Yeah, I think.
I mean, if Sahel doesn't bring Ditto, like Swords Dance Scale Shot could be really scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he's not unaware Clef.
Right.
But I mean, he does have Intimidate. He does have an Intimidator. If he decides to bring that. But yeah. I think I'm gonna go with Sahel on this one. I'm gonna go with a 5-0 win.
5-0 win. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that I feel that confident. I think Heatran and Garchomp hit hard enough that I am still going to go with Sahil, but I'm going to say 3-0.
Okay. Fair enough. And then lastly, Johto and me versus Griffin and Galar. And we're both 1-0 and have a +6 differential, so should be a pretty interesting match.
Yeah.
I mean, Griffin's team is just scary. Like,
Yeah.
there's not really much else to say. I do think there are ways for me to win, which I'm not going to delve into here.
That's fair.
But, I do think there are ways for me to win. I do think like Rillaboom. I think I have one of the best answers in the game, which is Scizor.
Yeah.
And I think Scizor in general, like, is a pretty good. Like, Scizor in the rain is really, really difficult to deal with.
Yeah. It's a hard Pokemon to fight.
That's a mon that could do some things.
Ariados. Huge Rillaboom answer.
Yeah, biggest Rillaboom answer in the world. What's it gonna do? I mean, I have Leech Life.
Exactly.
What could Rillaboom possibly
Unstoppable.
do?
It gains health.
But in all seriousness, like, Dragapult looks pretty good. I mean, Umbreon exists and Kingdra in the rain, but if he brings like Dragon Dance or something, like a +1, Dragapult could kind of win.
Yeah.
Urshifu in the rain is super scary.
Yes.
I mean, I can't even really deal with that Pokemon in the rain. So
yeah, it's kind of, the water's boosted, and also Lugia, Scizor, Raikou, Umbreon, everything doesn't really resist it. And
right, exactly.
Kingdra isn't exactly the tankiest Pokemon.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, Dragapult and Urshifu, they might take some of Slowking's kills this week.
Actually see
What's
the
your
field,
prediction?
you mean?
Yeah, well, that too.
Yeah.
I am not going to be offended, don't worry. This is a tough matchup.
I mean, you already predicted against me vocally.
That's true.
Moments ago. So, in kind, I think... I do not like this match. I think Scizor could put in some work. I think, there's still some room for Rain to be really helpful, but I think that Griffin might have a favorable enough matchup to put some hurt on. So I am going to go Griffin with a 4-0.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a low bar for me to cross. So if I lose 3-0, I'll be happy.
Okay. Exactly. Exceeding expectations.
Exactly. Yeah. For real though, like, I think as long as I keep, like I said, I think I can win, but for both of us, it's important. A close match benefits both of us to keep our differential. So yeah. I think, honestly, what I hope, if I do make it out of the group, is that someone beats Griffin on the other side. Maybe it'll be you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I hope I don't have to play Griffin. Not gonna lie.
If you make it out, you probably are going to have to.
Gosh, I guess I would. Yeah, it's interesting with the rosters. I feel like Galar on that side, and then I think Unova and Kalos. Like the pools that they had access to after I got over not even needing to scroll down to see the entire list of available Pokemon in my region. I looked at some of the other regions and I'm just like, that's like everything. Those are like all of the types and coverage and everything. And I feel like there are some really balanced teams between those three regions that
Absolutely.
just have so many threats. So good luck.
Yeah. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up this week of IPBL Weekly. If you did enjoy, please make sure you like and subscribe. I mean, no one else is listening to this besides people in the league. But if you did enjoy it, let us know. Let us know in chat. Tell us you enjoyed it.
Where's this going up?
Praise.
How are we posting this
YouTube.
content? YouTube?
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe I will open up just like I guess I could just upload the audio.
Like podcast feed. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll figure it out. But I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much, Jared, for joining me this week. I really appreciate it. We'll see you all next week for a week 2 recap. See ya.
See ya.